You know the problem that white people have with anybody of color, any person of color? Hi everybody, it's your boy Gino. We back again, second video. What it do? If you're not subscribed already, please hit that red little button down there, the one down below. It says subscribe. You know which one I'm talking about. Also, make sure you get us a thumbs up. Go on, hit me with that thumbs up. Help your boy out a little bit. You dig? In this second video, I saw this was trending very high on Twitter yesterday, and I was supposed to react yesterday, but man, the NBA season is back. So, you know, and the Lakers played yesterday. So, that's all I'm gonna say. But it was this video called Dear SIMI Valley. And when I was like, why is that trending? Right? So then I click it. I go to it and it's like, I'm in it. It's like, boom, racism. This is why this. Dear SIMI Valley. This is why I'm that. This is this, and that. I still don't know what the video's fully entirely about. So we're gonna watch it together. But I think it's about a couple people who made a video of how it really is living in SIMI Valley. And if you don't know where SIMI Valley is, it is in California. If you like everything, if you like how, you know, I'm doing what I do, please make sure give me a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow my socials, IG, Twitter, GINOMTS. Yes, sir. Make sure, check out Black Year. We are at 6K.
Yeah. When your skin is color, expect life not to be fair. Chocolate always across the top, like an eclair. No vaccine, I see clear. Making all the best out the worst, yeah, the worst here, but the best home. Ready for war, got my vest on. No more of my people out here getting stepped on.
Alright, with that being said, I know I said this before, but let's get into it.
Dear SIMI Valley, dear SIMI Valley, dear SIMI Valley.
I got the headphones in. Ah!
Dear SIMI Valley.
Dear SIMI Valley.
Dear SIMI Valley. Dear SIMI Valley. Dear SIMI Valley.
Have you ever been told
To speak English. To go back to your 7-Eleven.
That standing up for your own human rights would destroy your future?
That you don't belong and you are not from a city where you were actually born and raised?
That your ethnicity makes you undesirable.
to go back to Mexico when you've never even been there?
To stick to academics instead of the sport because that's all you're good at.
That you got into college just because you're a diversity requirement as opposed to getting in on your own merit?
Yes,
My
I
name
know.
is Kevin. I'm 34 years old. I was born and raised in SIMI Valley.
What's up,
Lived
Kevin?
here from 1986 to 2004, at
Right.
which point I went to college. During that time, from 2004 to 2009, I was still out here about every other weekend, visiting with friends and family.
Right.
I still have a lot of friends and family out here in SIMI Valley, and frequent the city often, still to this day.
Right.
In 10th grade, there was a student who was constantly saying racist remarks about all sorts of different people of color in the PE locker room. One day we were all headed out to the PE field, and he came running through the locker room kind of against the crowd, runs into me, pushes me, calls me a nigger. I struck him back in defense to kind of get him off of me. TA separated us at the time. Because we were at a zero tolerance kind of policy, we both ended up getting suspended. However, at the time, because we had school police, I was asked to write a statement. My parent and guardian wasn't there, certainly didn't have legal representation. I didn't know at the time that I shouldn't have been writing any statements without any of that advice. I didn't know that at the time that statement was going to be turned in.
Why do you need a legal representation in college, high school, whatever? What?
To the police, I ended up getting the one and only record that I ever have. They filed a charge of assault and battery for essentially defending myself from this racist kid.
Whoa. He got charged with assault and battery?
Assault and battery for essentially defending myself from this this racist kid. It was very traumatic again,
Okay.
just kind of reinforcing the idea
This
that
is sad,
authorities,
man. I don't like this type of stuff.
Didn't have my
I hate this type of, like, I don't like racism. And as somebody, as a black man in America, who gets stared at just for the color of my skin, who people walk to the other side of the street because of my skin color, you gotta be crazy. Like, this is what we living in 2020. 2020, we're still, come on, bro.
back in that even the systems that were supposed to protect me were aligning in defense of white supremacy. I think from there it just continued to intensify, and that was 10th grade. By the time
10th grade, high school,
graduated from Royal High School, the number of racist incidents and symbols just almost became daily, weekly. There were swastikas everywhere, carved into desks, written on bathroom stalls, written on bus stops. To this day, I really don't know if there were just so many swastikas that I just happened to see them, or if somebody was like targeting the desks that I was at. I'm not even sure which would be more terrifying. Confederate flags on belt buckles, badges on backpacks and jackets, stickers on cars. I had neighbors who would Confederate flags displayed outside of their house. These types of
in California
symbols of white supremacy and racism were ubiquitous. I saw them everywhere. As recently as last year, 2019, I was out here last fall for a friend's wedding, and we went to JRB's, a bar down the street. There's a noose hanging in the bar. Just the level of symbolism speaks volumes. And again, kind of adds to the atmosphere of antagonism and hatred that we were forced to deal with on a daily basis. Time and time again, as we saw and experienced racism, we continue to see a theme of school officials, police officers coming to the defense of white supremacists and criminalizing kids of color who are simply defending themselves. I think this is the actual definition of institutionalized racism. But moreover, I think a really interesting example of systemic racism that we saw firsthand that leads to the poisonous ideas that essentially white kids in this community had of people of color is tied to the lack of information that we have about each other. In high school, there was a chapter in one of our history books called The Other America. It detailed white flight. It detailed urban blight and how communities have been immersed in poverty, and how, in large part, the formations of a city like Simi Valley led to the decay of urban areas across the state and across the country. What stood out to me is that the very end of that chapter said the other America will never be forgotten. We ended up skipping this chapter in history class. This was the only time I actually had two other black kids in my class. Usually I was the only one. So we talked to the teacher and said, hey, this is really important stuff. Why are we not discussing this? His response was that it's not in the curriculum and that there's just not enough time for it. We were told by our school that there's just not enough time for our history.
Right.
And then we wonder why kids look at us and have these misconceptions of people of color. And it's because racism is baked into the very curriculum that we're learning. Now, a lot of the things that I've said today may be hard to believe. When I went off to college my freshman year, people in my hall did not believe me. This, Kevin, you're crazy, you're exaggerating, this is hyperbole. Later that year, freshman year, a number of us went up to Six Flags. On the way back down, some folk were reminded that Simi Valley was close. They said, hey Kevin, let's go to Simi and get something to eat. Like, we want to see Simi Valley, we want to see where you're from. I said, you don't want to do that. They said, no, let's go see Simi Valley. Okay, pull off on Sycamore and we go to what was then Denny's. There used to be Denny's over there on Sycamore. 10 people of color walking towards the entrance of Denny's. Every white person in Denny's instantly turned at us as we walked up. My friends were like, what's going on? I said, just remember you asked for this. As we waited for others, a car drives up, slows up as they pull up next to myself and my friends, roll their window down and say, oh my God, it's a fucking nigger, and pull off.
What?
My friend's jaws were to the floor. They said, did that just happen? I said, this happens on a regular basis. As of just a few weeks ago, as I was posting images and pictures about the protest here in Simi, I had friends of mine from UCR recall that very experience, saying, wow, I hope Simi Valley is changing because I still remember what happened to us outside of Denny's.
That's the reputation that Simi Valley holds.
That's
it has
wild.
nothing to do with the Rodney
What?
King trial. It has
Why
nothing
is
to do
it
with
still
this is stuff that happened in
going?
the 2000s. I don't think that it's fair to say we should, avoid the stereotype of Simi Valley. We need to address it head on if we ever want to change it. The things that young people are doing here in this city, that's what's going to make a different image of Simi Valley. That is what's going to lift up Simi Valley as a place to be, as a place of diversity, as a place that's open for everyone. Lying about the past, lying about the reality of people of color here is only going to further divide us and fan the flames of division and tension. So, dear Simi Valley, please listen to us. These stories are real.
Have you ever been called
A beaner,
a dothead,
a wetback,
a terrorist,
A nigger,
A hood rat cockroach or a monkey?
a cow worshiper?
an illegal alien? My name is Root Mon. I was born and raised in Simi, and I'm the co-founder of Rise. My whole life here has been difficult. I can't recall one time in this city where I haven't been blatantly aware of the color of my skin or my ethnicity. One of my earliest memories is of me in preschool. My cousin had just told one of the PTA moms that we were Indian, and my first and only reaction was to pull her aside and tell her not to tell people that. I had to have been 4 or 5 years old. I couldn't tell you to this day why I said that or why I felt that way, other than maybe I had internalized what I had been hearing on the news and what my parents had been saying to each other. This was a post 9/11 America, and although people were afraid of other terrorist attacks,
A lot of y'all wasn't born or was young when 9/11 happened. Man, that changed a lot of things for America. And this is why we are the way we are right now, because of this stupid bullshit that we do to.
my parents were afraid of hate crimes. My grandpa had a turban and a full beard, and we were constantly afraid of being attacked at our convenience store or in the streets. I had internalized since the beginning of my life that being Indian was a bad thing. Since then, my entire life has been a constant battle of me trying to embrace my culture while also being told by others that I should be rejecting it. I internalized that as well. I started distancing myself from my culture. I wanted to appear more American, more assimilated. I didn't want to speak my language anymore. My whole iPod shuffle in elementary school was all Hindi songs and then just Hannah Montana. I always felt that I needed to fit in. I would constantly get comments about how pretty I was in the wintertime when I was more fair. So I stopped going out in the summer because I was afraid that my skin would get dark, as it naturally does. Imagine the toll that took on my psyche.
That's
I
wild.
literally
You shouldn't even
did
have
not
to think
leave my
about
house to
that.
go outside in the summer for long periods of time because I was afraid of getting.
That's what's so crazy about America. Like, there's other country, like, racism is everywhere, but there are other countries where people have so much more to worry about, they don't have time to worry about this person looks like that, this person looks like that. And why does it have to be like that? Yes, we all don't come from the same place, but damn, why don't we bridge the gap and make it easier to talk and to be around people?
Dark because I thought that would make me ugly or
That's
undesirable,
wild.
or make it so boys didn't like me more than they already didn't. While living in Simi Valley, I actually came to believe that I was unworthy of love because of nothing else but my ethnicity. My personality didn't matter, nothing inside mattered, but I was Indian, so no one would ever love me. I learned that Indian women, including myself, are beautiful and that we're strong. And I realized that Simi Valley had been
Talk your
perpetuating
talk.
these ideas for my entire life.
Don't let these
And they're
people
still doing
make you think
To
anything
all my
else.
fellow strong and loud Dixie women out there, you are beautiful. You are smart, and your skin is not too dark.
Right.
Dear Simi Valley, we are making this video to empower our fellow POC that have been living in this city, that have encountered numerous injustices at the hands of the people that live here. We want to inspire you and amplify your voices so that you too can speak out and bring change to Simi Valley.
Have you ever been publicly harassed by multiple
Clearly they
city
did.
officials?
Been made to feel not good enough to hold positions of power due to your skin color?
Seen your mom's accent get ridiculed right in front of you.
Had to think about how your skin color guides your daily life? Been made to feel ashamed of your own culture?
Stereotyped because of the color of your skin.
Seen swastikas and Confederate flags plastered all over your school and your city.
Been followed in a store?
Hi,
Yes.
my name is Micaiah Foster, and I was raised in SIMI Valley. I'm a local activist and community organizer. So growing up in SIMI Valley can be very isolating for a person of color. I never really truly accepted my race and my ethnicity being what it was. I would try to straighten my hair or do anything to appeal to the European beauty standard, which sucks because, you know, it's already hard enough being a teenager trying to figure out yourself, but then you have all these people telling you, you know, your hair is too big, it's too frizzy, or when I wear it in braids, people would say like, ew, you don't wash it every day, that's disgusting. And then when it's straight, people would then tell me I'm trying to act white and I shouldn't do that. So it's like, you know, you can't really ever please anybody, and that's really isolating and it sucks. So I decided to start a protest. When I originally started it, I sent out like a little tweet on Twitter, and I honestly thought it would be me and maybe 10 of my friends standing out on that corner, all by our lonesome, just with our signs, and it was not that. It was amazing, and it was a beautiful experience. So leading up to the protest, I had been harassed by multiple city officials, as well as just the general public,
That's
basically
wild.
threatening me, saying that if any violence or destruction, or even if people just walked into the streets, they were going to run us over with their car and drag us for, I think they said 18 feet, to be specific. So when the protest started gaining more traction and it was becoming bigger and bigger, I began to work with more community organizers. That started gaining attention from local media and local city officials. And so then I decided that maybe it would be a good idea to give these officials a chance to come out in support of Black Lives Matter and just show that, you know, they support us and they're with people of color in their community. A few people responded basically saying that I should call off the protest because they were afraid that violence was going to erupt and I was going to destroy their beloved city. There was people telling me like...
Hold on, time out. Bruv, you know the problem that white people have with anybody of color, any person of color, is they're afraid that they're gonna lose something that they don't technically own. Mind blowing. What do you have to lose, bruh? That's like that child who plays with other children, but he doesn't get along well with other children. So he only does it because he have to. But soon as somebody asks for something of his, no, it's mine. Don't you dare try to touch it. That's how white America looks at us. And not all of them. I'm not going to say that. I know some very cool white people that I fuck with hard. That I can vouch for. But then there's the rest of them. I'm telling you, don't be like them. Them gonna be stuck with they when they don't have nothing else. Then they're gonna try to come take us out because we have more. Every single person of color in this country has more power. We have the numbers. We have everything. They won't give us positions. Let's make positions. We don't need them for nothing. And then if we do that, then they're really gonna be scared.
Like, good luck getting
Sorry,
in.
I'm preaching.
We're not letting you in to see me. We're gonna close the freeways. And I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. I've lived here my entire life, and people just automatically assume because of the color of my skin that I don't live here. And that's the exact reason why I was like, okay, you know what? Even with the threats and all these people who don't believe in this issue and don't believe in me, I have to do it. And you guys are just giving me more reason to do it. And so, I mean, there was even one official who told me that I would ruin the rest of my life, and if there was any violence or destruction that had come out of the protest, they would start a criminal investigation on me, assuming that I was the one who brought in people to destroy the city. With that, it was definitely hard. There were people saying that they found my address and they had pictures of my family. And obviously I didn't want, to risk my family's safety or anything, but I just believed
Is it that
my
serious?
message so much that I had to do it, because for so long, people of color in SIMI have, at least from my experience, have felt so isolated and felt like we didn't belong because people tell us that we don't belong. But I think it's important that we bring to the people's attention that SIMI is becoming more diverse and there are people of color, and it's not just a little white suburban town anymore. So I wanted to give the city officials a chance to come in, especially since SIMI does have such a reputation after the Rodney King trials. I thought it would be a perfect opportunity.
If y'all didn't know, SIMI Valley is where the Rodney King trial happened.
For them to come in and
I guess you know that now, but she just said it, but that is where it happened.
Almost rebrand the city and show people that that's not what we're about anymore. That's not who we are. And they decided to not take that opportunity, and that's the side of history that they're going to be shown on. Which, after you see the outcome of the protest, I think they made a horrible decision, especially trying to tell a youth in their city that she shouldn't stand up for her own rights and shouldn't, practice her First Amendment right. But there's people, threatening me on Twitter talking about how it's their Second Amendment right and that I should be scared. And it was okay for them to do that, but it wasn't okay for me to hold a peaceful protest in their eyes.
Come on now.
Like I say all the time, we're a movement, not a trend. We're not a hashtag. We're not a moment. We're a movement. And there's so much still left to do. So I really encourage you to keep educating yourself, keep having these difficult conversations, because that's when the real change starts happening. We need to talk to people outside of our circles, and we need to keep correcting our racist family members. Because it might not affect you, but it affects somebody else. So this is a message to all of the people of color out here in SIMI Valley. Please remember, you are not alone, and your experiences are valid. This is your moment to talk about what you've gone through and to finally start feeling accepted and a part of something, a part of your community, and to be proud of your community.
For sure.
Don't be afraid. You're not alone. Use your voice.
That was actually pretty good. I didn't know what that was gonna be. If you like that, please give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you would like. Don't fall for the narrative. Don't believe what people want you to believe about someone of a different race or color before you get to know them yourself or people of them or know where they come from. I never judge. I love to learn about other cultures because it makes me smarter and not look like a dumbass, speaking things I do not know, speaking things that I don't relate to, and threatening others because of where they're from or who they are. That's not cool. That's not who we are. There's so many people that's trying to stand up for this. So if you stand up for it like I do, please speak up. Let your voice be heard. We have to do better in America. With that being said, with that being said, make sure, like, subscribe, follow me on the socials. Let's keep them running up. Keep the subscribers running up. Let's get to 100 subscribers. Starts at 100, next thing 100K, then 1 million. You dig? So, it's your boy Gino. Stay tuned. We got more on the way. To the next video.